The last nuclear power stations in Germany will be shut down by 2022, leaving behind 1,900 containers with 27,000 cubic meters of high-level radioactive waste. Germany is now looking for a safe deposit site for this waste. A large majority in the German parliament decided how the site selection process should proceed. The public will be kept informed throughout the procedure and can voice opinions, query findings and raise objections. The Federal Company for Radioactive Waste Disposal has the task of exploring possible sites. The supervisory authority is the Federal Office for the Safety of Nuclear Waste Management, or BASE. It assesses exploration results, informs the public and forwards proposals to the German Parliament via the federal government. A National Civic Society Board, consisting of public figures and representatives from the general public, is accompanying the selection process. Where is the safest site? The first phase of the selection procedure involves evaluating all the available data on underground geological formations in Germany. Areas with unsuitable underground conditions will be ruled out as potential disposal sites. They either have deep mines, are susceptible to volcanic activity, or there is a threat of earthquakes. Potential sites must meet certain minimum requirements. There must be at least 300 meters of rock between the deposit site and the Earth's surface. It must be surrounded by a sufficiently thick layer of crystalline rock, salt or clay. A website informs the public about those areas being considered and those that have been ruled out. The advantages and disadvantages must be considered in the remaining areas. Water, for instance, is a problem. Radioactive substances must not be allowed to reach the surface via watercourses. The waste in the deposit site will continue to emit heat. The surrounding rock must be able to dispel it. The search is now focusing on select areas with the most favourable geological conditions. During this phase, BASE is holding a conference to allow members of the public to actively participate for the first time. Explorations are continuing. High-level radioactive waste must be shielded from the environment for geological periods. Experts are now calculating where the waste can be stored safely in the long term. Only these areas will make it into the final selection. In areas with similar geological conditions, the situation above ground must also be considered. For example, a final deposit site should not be located near residential areas or located within a unique natural and cultural environment. However, these are not criteria for rejecting a region. A shortlist with a number of potential regions will remain by the end of the initial site selection phase. Regional conferences in these areas will provide information for the public. If people doubt the survey results, they can demand a review of the findings. Representatives from these regional conferences will also consult on the Council of Regions. All those affected by the planning process have a basic right to voice their objections at public hearings. The German Parliament will pass a law to decide where and how the search will continue. The search during the second phase switches from databases to on-site explorations. Exploratory drillings and seismic measurements provide a more accurate picture of underground conditions. Further regions will be excluded from the search based on these findings. Anyone affected in the region still being discussed can present their case in the participation formats, or even has the opportunity of taking the matter to the Federal Administrative Court. Afterwards, the German Parliament will again make a decision. BASE will present the criteria for assessing the remaining potential sites during Phase 3. Exploration mines will be built, boreholes, radar probes and other methods will provide more information about the rock formations. The pros and cons will have to be considered before BASE proposes a site. After further public hearings and possible legal proceedings, the German Parliament will make a final decision on the location of the disposal site. According to the law, this decision must be made by 2031. Radioactive waste could then be deposited there from 2050 onwards. It's an ambitious target, but it is necessary if Germany is to achieve the goal it has set for itself. This will only succeed if all those involved act responsibly.